Tonight on Ctv3 News, higher than expected electricity bills is cause for frustration among Belizeans. Prime Minister John Briceño says he has summoned a meeting with BEL and the PUC. Will relief for BEL consumers come soon? The Prime Minister says new power suppliers could come online within months. He also blames years of underinvestment for the energy crisis. A traffic accident by the San Esteban roundabout in Orange Walk claims another life. And the Public Transportation Investment Bill of 2026 presented in Parliament. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Friday, August 21st, 2026.
Emergencia fitosanitaria. Infestación de la cochinilla en la caña de azúcar. Actúe temprano. Proteja su cultivo y sus rendimientos. Una infestación de cochinilla sigue afectando severamente campos de caña en el norte de Belice, por lo que es importante actuar de inmediato para proteger sus cañaverales e inversiones. Conozca la cochinilla. La cochinilla es un insecto pequeño, blanco y con apariencia algodonosa que se encuentra comúnmente en la base de la cepa y debajo de las hojas. Se alimenta de la savia de la planta, debilitándola y reduciendo su vigor. ¿Qué daños causa? La cochinilla succiona la savia de la planta e introduce toxinas causando amarillamiento de las hojas, crecimiento débil y una reducción en el vigor de la caña. Riesgo de enfermedades y bajos rendimientos. Las infestaciones severas pueden provocar una reducción en los rendimientos. Las plantas debilitadas también se vuelven más vulnerables a enfermedades, como la pudrición de raíces causada por hongos como el fusarium. Señales a las que debe estar atento. Revise sus campos regularmente y esté atento a hojas amarillas, crecimiento reducido, raíces dañadas, áreas secas o muertas y presencia de cochinillas alrededor de la base de las plantas. También debe vigilar y controlar la presencia de hormigas. Las hormigas son atraídas por las secreciones producidas por las cochinillas, las protegen y pueden ayudar a dispersarlas dentro del campo. Si observa cualquiera de estos síntomas, comuníquese de inmediato a su oficial de campo de CIRDI o con el Departamento de Relaciones con Cañeros de BSI para recibir ayuda técnica. Se le puede brindar apoyo mediante inspecciones de campo, recomendaciones sobre insecticidas aprobadas y guía para el manejo adecuado de esta plaga. ¿Qué deben hacer los productores inmediatamente? Mantenga su campo limpio removiendo hojas secas y exceso de basura alrededor de la base de las plantas. Utilice control biológico. Los productores pueden obtener sus productos biológicos para aplicar en sus campos a través de CIRDI. Para más información, consulte con su oficial de campo de CIRDI. Utilice insecticidas aprobadas únicamente en las áreas severamente afectadas, no en todo el campo. Dirija la aplicación a la base de la planta o el área de la cepa y realiza las aplicaciones temprano por la mañana o al final de la tarde. Utilice insecticida para control de hormigas después de la cosecha. Actúe temprano. Proteja su cultivo y sus rendimientos.
Money travels fast, so make sure you check it before you spend it. Here are 4 easy ways to know your money is real. Look, feel, tilt, and check. Look closely at your note by holding it to the light to see the watermark and the note value. Notice how the see-through image completes itself perfectly. Feel for authenticity. Run your fingers over the raised portrait and the bars on the edges. 1 bar for the $2 and up to 6 bars for the $100. Tilt the note to see the hidden value appear. Look for the moving images on the security thread and holographic shimmer on higher denominations. Check closely. Use UV light or a magnifying glass to find hidden images and microtext. Remember, handling counterfeit money is illegal. If you spot a fake, report it to the police immediately. Look, feel, tilt, and check. Know your money. Check it before you spend it. A message from the Central Bank of Belize.
In Belize, the Public Utilities Commission works every day amid the rhythm of economic activities to ensure homes, businesses, and communities have access to necessary utility services. Through regulations, the Public Utilities Commission powers progress, connect communities, encourage new ideas and bold innovation, manage consumer rights, guide change, and serves in the best interests of national development for a future that benefits us all. Every decision is informed by evidence and guided by regulations and the law. So if and when changes arise in any of Belize's utility sectors, including situations that may affect competition, regulations and laws allow the PUC to carefully assess those changes, ensuring consumers are treated fairly while maintaining a sustainable utility sector. The Public Utilities Commission, guided by the law, informed by evidence, working to ensure fair and sustainable utility services for Belize.
The first week we had it at Henry. Now this second week we're having it here at Georgetown Technical High School. Basically what we're doing is that we're trying to get youths involved in agriculture, especially because that is very important. We need it for food security, we need them to be sustainable. So we target them at a young age so that they can be able to incorporate whatever activity they're learning in their daily life, especially during the summer days, right? Regular summer camps would entail them probably to have some fun games outdoors and different other activities, but in terms of agriculture, we get them involved in different activities. For example, the whole week it's broken down in different activities. We had on Monday, we had horticulture, meaning that they had the opportunity to sow a seed, to do transplanting in a cover structure. On Tuesday, we taught them about livestock concept when it comes to New World screwworm, different livestock related activities. Wednesday, beekeeping. Thursday, we focus on agro-processing, getting preparations when it comes to hands-on practice with healthy breakfast, healthy meals. And then on Friday, we wrap up with aquaculture.
I just wanted to see the different topics we were going to learn about to try to learn something. We were learning about beekeeping, and I learned a lot that in one bee box, they can be up to 80,000 bees. I've been having a lot of fun.
They are always excited. I mean, every day they come, you see a lot of sense of happiness and humor within them that they want to come to the agriculture summer program.
I'm very impressed with the amount of participants because we try to limit to 50. I believe today we have almost 70. And so we're going to serious encouragement for young people. Because when I assume the responsibility as Minister of Agriculture, I recognize that young people don't want to do agriculture anymore. They want to be in tourism or academics or something of that regard. For as a nation, agriculture is the backbone of any economy. So as the minister responsible, I want to do everything possible to encourage young people to go into farming.
evening with your newscast, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Jaden Games. Higher than expected electricity bills are causing frustration among Belizeans, with several customers turning to social media to report sharp increases despite saying their household power consumption has changed little. The concerns emerge as Belize Electricity Limited, or BEL, rolls out its new cost of power adjustment mechanism, a measure that can raise electricity charges by as much as 1.5% when the cost of purchasing power increases. However, some customers say the adjustment does not appear to fully account for the significant differences they are seeing on their latest bills. For households that maintain similar electricity use patterns from month to month, the larger charges have left many questioning what is behind the increases. Social media posts shared by customers highlight the growing concern, with some comparing their latest bills with previous ones and pointing to noticeable increases. Today, the Prime Minister was asked to address those concerns.
Well, certainly something that we, certainly myself as a citizen and more importantly as a Prime Minister, I'm very concerned. I've already spoken to Minister Shabat. I've asked him to meet with the Executive Chairman, Ambassador Young, and the people of BL and PUC, and to be able to meet with the media hopefully early next week by Monday, Tuesday to discuss that. And so it is something that we are taking a look at right now.
The latest increase in electricity rates has sparked renewed political criticism, with the United Democratic Party, the UDP, calling on the government of Belize and the Public Utilities Commission, the PUC, to immediately reconsider the decision amid growing concerns over the rising cost of living. In a statement issued Friday, the UDP said Belizean households are already struggling to keep pace with rising prices for food, transportation, and other basic necessities. The party argued that another increase in electricity costs will place an even greater burden on families already facing financial strain. The opposition party also questioned the frequency of recent rate adjustments, pointing out that consumers have now experienced 2 electricity rate increases within a 7-month period. The UDP is demanding greater clarity on what tangible benefits consumers have received from nearly $400 million in investments made in the electricity sector. Adding to those concerns are complaints from customers who say their electricity bills have climbed sharply despite little or no noticeable change in their household consumption. The UDP is calling for these reports to be investigated by both the PUC and the government, with consumers demanding answers about how their bills are being calculated. The party is therefore pressing for the latest rate increase to be reversed, a formal investigation into billing complaints, and greater transparency regarding major investments in Belize's electricity infrastructure and their impact on consumers. Prime Minister John Briceño, however, has rejected accusations that Belize Electricity Limited, BEL, is exploiting its customers. Instead, he said the utility has at times been absorbing significant costs by selling electricity to consumers below the price at which it purchases power. The Prime Minister also blamed what he described as years of inadequate investments under the previous UDP administration, arguing that the current challenges facing the electricity sector are partly the result of infrastructure needs that were not addressed over a prolonged period.
We are suffering 13 years of UDP neglect. For 13 years, the UDP did nothing to invest in BL, to invest in infrastructure, invest in its transition line, to invest in more production of electricity. And I know some will say, well, it's not government. But government was interfering and did not allow the process. Do you know that to this day, the son of the former Prime Minister is still advertising that he has a license to be able to produce electricity? And there were many instances where these things were approved to just people that were close to the government at the time and not producing. Since we got in, that's what we've been working every single day. The first thing we did before you even asked me is trying to get a loan from the Saudis. Once they did approve it immediately, it goes through a very long process with them. They're a huge country with many other issues that they're dealing with. So we are at the point now of starting to bid to get the people that are interested that will be prepared to do this solar project. We have a $100 million loan from the World Bank where we want to do, I think it's a 40 megawatt of battery storage, sorry, yes, 40 megawatts. And why was the delay? The delay was because there was this person who was squatting on the land owned by BEL, saying that in San Pedro, and where he was supposedly protecting the iguanas. Well, no, he did also 2 years. And it was a scam. And I met with the official from the World Bank on Wednesday and Thursday, and I told him, when nameless bureaucrats in Washington just hold back a project because of something, when this person was squatting, he was there illegal. It's not like that's the only sanctuary for the iguanas. You keep us back, we could have already had that project going. That would allow us to be able to buy 40 megawatts of energy from CFE in Mexico, like at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning, it is only 3 or 4 cents. But what is happening? They have a shortage of energy during the prime time, the prime hours. And so BL has been buying sometimes as much as $1 US a kilowatt. And we're only selling it for 42 cents, 44 cents. Belize, BEL has been selling energy to the public at a loss, to less than what they're buying it. We're even talking about the transmission and the operations and all of that. It is a crisis, and we as a government was holding back BL from raising these prices. But then it comes to the time when it has to happen, and it happened, unfortunately.
According to Briceño, government is working on several major energy projects that are intended to strengthen Belize's electricity system and reduce reliance on expensive power sources. One of those projects has to do with new power suppliers.
The good news is now that we met with Ambassador Young, along with 2 of his young engineers. We met with the Ministry of Energy and myself on Tuesday, and he said they're at the point now of being able, under the emergency declaration that we did several months ago, that they believe that they could get companies to be able to come online with energy, with electricity. And we're hoping that we could probably get it within 6 months, and hopefully within 1 year, we'll be able to get about 4 or 5 companies that are already here to be able to start to produce more energy. And they believe that they could be able to do that at a savings of about $28 million in the first year for BEL. So we have been working on it. We've been addressing, but it's not like you run a water line in a house, from one room to the next. It's take time. We just managed to then run the submarine line from San Pedro to Kikoko. So now we'll be able to give them cheaper energy, because then they don't have to generate their own by diesel. Under the MCC, this bill that we're working on the board and we are debating today is also critical for us, because under the MCC, under the energy part of the MCC or the compact agreement, they are going to invest about between $30 and $34 million US to be able to put a new submarine cable. But before they do that, then they are saying you government have to make sure that you put aside at least about $18 million, so that if there's any shortage of that money, you have to be able to do that. But it's a huge investment, because it's not only the submarine line, but then we also have to upgrade the transmission line from Bomba to where it goes on the ground, and that is another tens of millions of dollars. So we've been making lots of investments. We've been working very hard to ensure that we can not only reduce the cost of energy, which we hope that by 2028, 2029, the prices will start to go down because all of this other energy will be coming online. And at the same time, to be able to put BL on a sound financial footing.
You're going. The competing positions underscore a growing debate over the future cost and reliability of electricity in Belize. While the UDP maintains that consumers should not be forced to shoulder additional costs without clear evidence of benefits, the Briceño administration argues that substantial investment is necessary to modernize the country's energy infrastructure and address long-standing weaknesses in the sector. For consumers facing higher monthly bills, however, the immediate concern remains the same: whether electricity rates can be kept affordable while the government and BEL pursue long-term solutions to Belize's energy challenges. Another concern for Belizeans is the high cost of living that is squeezing local families, driven by rising prices for imported fuel spikes, and, as mentioned, increased electricity rates. The affordability to day-to-day life has Belizeans on edge. Today, the Prime Minister has also addressed that matter.
Of course, I'm very concerned about affordability. Everybody is very, very concerned. And I need to repeat to you, I've told you over and over, most of these things we have no control. We don't have control for the price of fuel. You don't have control for the price of goods that are being imported in the country. We have not been raising taxes. Now, we could control tax, but short of that, we can't. The truth of the matter is that we are trying to do everything that we possibly can to be able to assist. Where we can control and where we can help, we do. So what have we been doing? Well, for instance, okay, we raised the minimum wage. And I know Senator Dennis was making a big deal about I think I'm going to be kind to him. I don't think he really understands the entire process, because the minute if we were to go say $10 or $20, immediately the private sector says we can't afford that, and then we are creating even bigger problems. Not only unemployment, businesses slowing down, but even inflation. So there are many aspects of different areas that you have to look at as a government, as a responsible government. So what we have said that we want to raise it to another dollar, but we promised the chamber that we will sit down with them and have some more real discussions as to when would be the best time to be able to raise it. I would want to do it from yesterday, but something that is a process. But more than that, look, we have increased the threshold of exemptions from income tax. That puts more money in your pocket. We're expanding national health insurance. That puts more money in your pocket. We've been giving the free education. I think most, if not all, government high schools now are totally free. Books, even uniforms when necessary. That puts more money in your pocket. So we've been looking in areas where we can do something, we do. But the importation and the goods that we import into this country, we do not have a cost of it.
To bring further relief to Belizeans, the government is looking at opening community stores, says the Prime Minister.
Yes, we are working on the idea of trying to come up with community stores. I'm glad you reminded me, because right now we are trying to put the project together. You see, you don't want to do something then that 2 years later, 3 years later, it becomes a drain on government finances. So we want to do it in such a way where probably we just put like a 5% markup on these things. I'm not in that grocery business, so we're trying to find the right partners. We're not there, so please don't want to run around and say we don't, but be able to find the right partners where maybe we can put maybe 100 products, the basic products that people then can buy. So we are concerned, we feel it, we want to do everything that we possibly can, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that are going on that we have to be dealing with all at the same time.
Minister of Transport Louis Zabanet today presented the Public Transportation Investment Bill of 2026 in the House of Representatives as government moves forward with plans to restructure Belize's public transportation system through the establishment of the National Bus Company, the NBC, which was officially established earlier this year. The bill seeks to formally approve, ratify, and confirm government's investment in the National Bus Company, including the transfer of public transportation assets to the company. It also makes provisions for proposed exemptions from taxes and duties for the NBC, which government says will support the company as it gets off the ground. During his presentation, Minister Zabanet outlined the government's plans and the importance of the legislation to the future of the public transportation in Belize.
Mr. Speaker, this is the Public Transportation Investment Bill 2026. I rise to introduce a bill for an act to approve, ratify, confirm the government's investment in the National Bus Company Limited, including by way of transfer to and vesting of certain public transport assets in the company, to provide for certain exemptions from taxes and duties proposed to be granted to the National Bus Company Limited, and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. So the model that was allowed to fester over the years has led to a system that has worked against the well-being of the very people who need to use it. Why? Because we know the stories, we've seen them on media all the time. Buses racing on the highways, breaking down on the road, water coming in through the window, having the floors, you could see the road from inside the bus, all kinds of things. Some buses catching fire. Clearly, not a system that any Belizean could be proud of. We certainly, on this end, have taken shame on what is out there, as we should. As a nation, we should all have bowed down our heads in shame for what has been festering over these years. And this is what has driven us to take an innovative, transformative approach to the problem.
The new system, according to Minister Zabanet, has allowed the NBC to acquire 8 upgraded buses, with resources available for up to 15 more, while cameras, electronic ticketing, and electric buses are also part of the modernization plans.
The NBC has the full coverage of the southern corridor, which is from Punta Gorda all the way to Belmopan, and then through the coastal road all the way to the George Price Highway at La Democracia. And it also has about 83% of the coverage from Benqueviejo to Belize City. You're not hearing about anything with racing on those corridors anymore. The incidents of buses breaking down have fallen dramatically. NBC has already invested in 8 newer buses. And when we're talking newer, not just newer Bluebirds and the way in the same manner that we've had before. No, these buses are all bucket seat buses with air conditioning. All the buses that have been brought in. And there is resources to buy up to 15 buses, and that is an ongoing process. That is an ongoing process. Along with that, the NBC is also investing in a camera system that you have in each of the buses. You have a camera now that at the headquarters of the NBC, they can see where the buses are across the country on a screen, and they can also see what is happening in front of the bus and inside the bus, helping us to monitor for safety and for quality of service. And if you go now to the terminal in Belize, you will see that the entrance has been upgraded. And you come to the one right here in Belmopan, you will see that a significant investment has been made. And I want to thank my colleagues in Cabinet, Prime Minister, for that $2.5 million that has been dedicated to the Belmopan and to the Belize terminals.
The successes of the National Bus Company are being raised today, just as Belize's private bus sector faces an immediate crisis, with the Belize Bus Association warning of a nationwide shutdown beginning Monday, August 24th, over the rising cost of diesel and the expiration of the fuel subsidy. The association is calling for the subsidy, which expired on August 4th, to be reinstated retroactively. Transport Minister Honorable Louis Zabane today also sought approval for a limited concession for the National Bus Company to operate along the Western Corridor and an exclusive concession along the Southern Corridor. Minister of Transport Louis Zabane defended the proposed concessions, outlining government's plan for the National Bus Company and its role in the country's public transportation system.
So the concessions are, as the regulations make clear, linked to higher standards required of the National Bus Company in this specific case, but with the aim for the overall standards of operations of intercity buses to be improved over time. So allow me to just refer to my notes so that I could specify some of those specific conditions that now the NBC must comply by getting these concessions. It must, there must be maintenance of an approved fleet that satisfies statutory safety requirements. There must be compliance with all Department of Transport directives and service standards. There must be an implementation of published schedules approved by the department. There must be provision of reliable service to rural and underserved communities. So as the buses are passing through the villages, there must be consideration to serve not just the urban commuters, but also those that are underserved. Must be maintenance of adequate public liability and motor vehicle insurance coverage. Must be compliance with environmental, labor, and public safety laws. Must be acceptance of fare structures approved by the government or the relevant regulatory authority. There must be submission of annual operational and financial reports to the Department of Transport. Must be installation of passenger safety, monitoring, fleet management systems as may be required by the regulations, and compliance with all obligations established under the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Limited and Exclusive Concession Regulations.
However, opposition leader Tracy Panton raised concerns over what she described as the potential for a monopoly in the public transportation sector. Panton questioned whether granting NBC exclusive operating rights in certain areas could ultimately limit competition and negatively affect Belizeans who rely on public transportation.
There is no reason, and I have to borrow from my colleague in Mess Up, why would we get this motion at 10 o'clock last night and be expected to come here and rubber stamp it. Because this is what this is about, rubber stamping. Let us treat the people of this country with the respect that they deserve. Let us not make these chambers become an organ of the executive, but rather an institution that looks at the greatest good for this country. Mr. Speaker, there is absolutely no way those of us on this side can support these two motions. I thank you.
Concerns over motorcycle safety are mounting following another fatal road traffic accident in the Orange Walk district. Melkir Antonio Westby, a 37-year-old resident of Palmar Village, died in the earlier hours of this morning after he lost control of the motorcycle he was driving and crashed into the San Esteban roundabout. Police responded to the scene shortly after 12:30 a.m. and found Westby lying face up on the grass with multiple head and body injuries. A few feet away, officers found a black Lifan motorcycle lying on its left side, facing toward Orange Walk Town. According to police, their initial investigation indicates that around 12:15 a.m., Westby was traveling along San Esteban Road from Orange Walk Town toward the bypass when he collided with the roundabout. The impact threw him from the motorcycle, leaving him with severe injuries. Westby was transported to the Northern Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at approximately 1:40 a.m. The latest fatality is adding to concerns over motorcycle crashes and road safety as the numbers of riders on Belize's roads continues to grow. Against the backdrop, the Ministry of Transport is currently working on various reforms aimed at improving road safety and reducing traffic accidents. Coming up next, after missing 10 parliamentary proceedings, Jose Mai is back at the House of Representatives. Stay tuned.
When I come here with me and my family, I get quality service. I have no problem with the doctors nor the nurses. It has a lot of impact on the families because they can also use the service just like me. People younger than me have to pay $2 while I get my medication free.
So that's the great thing about NHI, that you can, access the service based on your ability to pay or not. All right. So that's the game changer of NHI, is that a consultation is $2, and I think if you don't have the $2, we would never deny the service. Built into that is children under 5 years old or above 60 years old or pregnant women. They have been suspended from the $2, what we call co-pay. So for them it's totally free.
I am glad because before I would have to pay out of pocket. Now, well, because I'm senior citizen, I can get most of them for free.
I think NHI is for everybody. Once you have a social security card, you should register for NHI.
Orange Walk South Area Representative Honorable Jose Abelardo May returned to the House of Representatives today, ending a prolonged absence from parliamentary proceedings. His reappearance marks a significant return to the national political stage as lawmakers gathered to address several items on the government's agenda. Mai had been absent from 10 House meetings since November 20th of 2025, following his departure from the cabinet driven by health concerns rather than political divisions, as was rumored. Speaking to the media today, he provided an update on his health and recovery after facing a dislocated shoulder and a torn ligament sustained in an accident on his farm. He also required treatment for a chronic spinal condition.
I feel a little strange. Nevertheless, it feels good to be back in Parliament, contributing to the discussions if needs be. Recovery is coming slowly, but it's coming. Frustrating at times, but nevertheless, it is improving slowly. Especially the last 2 weeks, I think I've seen some improvement. Probably like maybe a month ago, I was a little frustrated because I wasn't seeing it had plateaued. The improvement had plateaued, and I couldn't flex the knee well. I still can't flex the knee well, so I'm working on that. I was continuously having the knee inflamed and very painful. So I was in Merida last 3 weeks for that specifically, and I will travel again to see if the situation has improved. If it doesn't improve, then there's another procedure I think that has to be done. But I'm hoping and praying that the situation will improve. I have 2 herniated discs, and one the S1 that's desiccated. Actually, there's not much of a disc there anymore. And what the doctors had agreed, I think I've said it before, was that my posture wasn't helping me. I was because of my knee. So the doctors, they opted to do the knee surgery to balance the weight a little, correct your posture so you don't have the pressures on one side of the vertebrae. So with the surgery on my knee, well, after I got back to Belize, the vertebrae got worse. But I returned to Guatemala, and the therapist made some changes, and that has been helping me a lot. But right now, I'm consciously trying to balance the weight so you don't put pressure on one side of the vertebrae.
So no back surgery?
But not at this moment.
In the future?
If it gets worse, yes. But I'm hoping it doesn't. And with the knee being to 90% recovery, the doctors believe that with proper therapy and changing your lifestyle, you can't do things you used to do before, right? It could be a while before you get surgery. But I would like to recover a bit more to ensure that I don't have to go back on these long leaves. Actually, last 3 weeks, one of the doctors I saw in Merida was saying that you may need to open your knee back again. And I said, no, please, that's not an option for me, right? Because we don't have full flexing of the knee yet. And it's still painful and it gets inflamed. So they were saying if it doesn't improve, we might have to do in the quirófano to open and manipulate. What they had to discard is that there's an infection, right? So they would take a sample, do the blood tests, and that went well. So we're just hoping that it eases on the pain and inflammation.
Managed to return to Parliament, his return to Cabinet is a separate matter that remains uncertain.
There's 2 things. Parliamentarian and cabinet are 2 different things. We are elected to be parliamentarians. Return to cabinet is the Prime Minister's decision, right? Of course, I miss my job, but that doesn't mean that I don't participate in the Ministry of Agriculture activities and to guide them in whatever I can. That's my forte, that's my strength, that's what my knowledge and experience is in, and so I contribute as much as I can to the ministry and to the farming sector.
But have you had a conversation with him, even a hypothetical one, about being reappointed?
We speak weekly. Prime Minister visited my farm, I think it was Thursday last week. We had a good sit-down chat. We talk about many things. And I'm sure he will want me back in his cabinet. But that's his decision, right? And I'm not in any hurry. I want to recover well yet, very well, and then we can decide that. But we have a very good relationship, Prime Minister and I. We speak a lot about the projects in agriculture, where we should be going very near future. So we have very good conversations on this matter.
While stepping away from cabinet was a personal decision, Mai was questioned today about the benefits he continues to receive and whether they are those afforded to him as an area representative or as a minister.
I don't know if it's perks. I only have one driver and a government assigned vehicle. And if you go to the records, you will see that that vehicle is the least that uses fuel. I don't subscribe to that. If you see me in Onjoa or anywhere else, you will see me in my private vehicle. I do not subscribe to abuse a government vehicle. And if I don't have to use it to come to Bangpan, I don't. I don't think anybody has seen me more than 3 times in a government vehicle in Onjoa town. And so I am conscious about that. I don't abuse it. And if I need my driver, I can just come home. We're going to Milan, we're going to release, like today. But very, very little use that vehicle.
But by right, shouldn't it be returned?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that what's the process.
Protocol.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to
And
be
you've
honest.
not cared to find out?
No, I hadn't, because I do not use the vehicle much. But again, that is a decision, I think, from the Prime Minister.
As mentioned in the previous report, Mai's return to cabinet ultimately rests with the Prime Minister, who will have the final say on whether the former minister is given another opportunity to serve at the highest level of government. But beyond the decision at the cabinet table, a more important political question is emerging. Does Mai still have the backing of the people who put their trust in him? For a politician, cabinet experience is only one part of the equation. Strong grassroots support and the confidence of constituents are equally critical, particularly in a constituency as politically significant as Orange Walk South. But according to Mai, there is no need for concern as he continues to have the confidence and support of his constituents.
The politics in the rural constituencies is different from urban city, but and my constituency is what, 95% agriculture based, right? Either directly or indirectly. They know what my strength is, they respect it, they love me for it, and I love them back. And so I am very comfortable with them, and they are comfortable with me, I'm sure. And let me tell you, there's no one in Orange Walk South for the UDP or for NEP that can beat me in an election.
The House of Representatives was today presented the 2026 loan motion, which is for $100 million from the Export-Import Bank of the Republic of China, Taiwan. Prime Minister John Briceño, who presented the loan motion in the House, highlighted the long-standing bilateral relationship between Belize and Taiwan, saying the continued cooperation between both countries has been beneficial to Belize. The loan carries a 20-year term with a 3-year grace period, repayable in 34 semi-annual installments of roughly $2.94 million. It is noted that the concession would see $40 million of the loan accessible by government before the end of this year. In terms of usage, Prime Minister Briceño says his administration plans to prioritize capital investments and use the funds to meet counterpart financing requirements.
In its most recent, it is the most recent in a series of loans and grants provided to Belize from our friends in Taiwan since we first established the diplomatic relations in 1989. And I'm sure that the leader of the opposition knows about these when she was also in government, when she was sitting on this side of the House. And it is a testament of the enduring and growing relationship between our two countries. The purpose of the loan is to support the annual budgetary operations of the government of Belize from now until 2029. While there is no restriction on how the funds are to be allocated within our annual budgets per se, the government will give priority to meeting local counterpart requirements to other capital investment programs funded by our mutual development partners. Just to make clear, a lot of these loans that we make, especially under Ctv3, it requires government counterpart funding. So we would take advantage of using these funds to be able to use it on the investments that we make, be it in infrastructure, education, in health, or whatever other investments we're making in Belize, as opposed to just using it for the running of the business, of the government, sorry, of paying salaries and other things in the recurrent part of the budget. The record of this meeting will reflect our heartfelt gratitude to the government and the Republic of China, Taiwan, to His Excellency Ambassador Minochi, and of course former Ambassador Lily, who was here, who was a part of the architect in putting all this together, and the staff at the Embassy of Taiwan in Belize, and to the taxpayers of Taiwan for this ever so valuable support and assistance to Belize. Mr. Speaker, I commend this loan motion to the Honorable House, and I urge all members to approve it. Thank you.
The opposition, Tracy Panton, also rose during the debate, seeking further clarification on the proposed borrowing. Panton stressed that borrowing can be justified when the funds are directed toward productive investments that strengthen the economy and improve the lives of Belizeans.
The monies will go into general financing. Payments will be made over a long-term agreement. And that is about all we know. It is hard, Mr. Speaker, to justify long-term borrowing to support immediate expenses without understanding some framework, some areas that require immediate inflow of investment from the public purse. Mr. Speaker, it is almost a slap in the face. You are asking for parliamentary approval on a US $1 million loan commitment. 40 US million of that to be drawn down immediately and spent before the end of 2026. And yet, there is no other information that can be made available, Mr. Speaker, to the Belizean people who continue to pay the highest cost and carry the greatest burden. Again, Mr. Speaker, we wish, we want to, we would like to support this loan motion, but certainly more information is required before we can do so. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The motion ultimately authorizes the government to proceed with the proposed $100 million financing from Taiwan's Export-Import Bank, which the government says forms part of its efforts to support national development. Former Agriculture Minister Jose Abelardo May says he is not losing sleep over allegations and speculation linking him to the abduction of Joseph Ryan Budna, who remains in custody in Guatemala. May has repeatedly denied any involvement in the August 2025 incident, in which Budna was taken near the Orange Walk police station and later found in Guatemalan custody. The circumstances surrounding Budna's transfer to Guatemala sparked widespread public debate and allegations of possible involvement by Belizean officials. All authorities have denied that the government sanctioned or participated in any such action. Speaking on the allegations, May maintains that there is no evidence connecting him to Budna's disappearance.
Many other things bother me, not that one.
Belize's long-awaited People's Constitution Commission report was laid before the National Assembly today, nearly 4 years after the commission was established to make recommendations on constitutional reform. Prime Minister John Briceño said the commission initially made 167 recommendations, which were later narrowed to 53 constitutional recommendations following a review by an external panel led by King's Counsel Edward Fitzgerald. Following that lengthy process, government is now expected to begin a public awareness and consultation process before the recommendations return to the National Assembly.
According to the Act, Section 22, a resolution is to be put before the National Assembly declaring that the matter stated in the report, whether the Belize Constitution should be repealed and replaced or amended, is of sufficient national importance that it should be submitted to the electors for their view through a referendum. But, Mr. Speaker, before such a resolution is put before the National Assembly, it seems sensible that the government engages in a public awareness campaign on these recommendations of the PCC. Again, all the recommendations cannot be taken on board. However, this consultation process will allow the public a mechanism to review and analyze recommendations, to understand government's rationale and approach on the recommendations, and thus allow government to receive further feedback from the public. We anticipate this to take 6 to 8 months. Mr. Speaker, my government is committed to the redistricting exercise to be started afresh. To trigger the restart of the redistricting exercise, there are a number of constitutional amendments that will need to be pursued. The Elections and Boundaries Commission, at paragraph 116 of its 2023 report, had made recommendations relating to the amendment to Section 90 of the Constitution to, for instance, include a national mean of registered electors and include a threshold limit to allow for the increase or decrease of the number of registered electors in each division. We will be coming to the House in September with a bill to amend the Constitution of Belize to give effect to some of these recommendations so that the redistricting exercise can start anew.
The process could eventually lead to a referendum, as provided for under the People's Constitution Commission Act. As public consultations and education are set to begin, Prime Minister Briceño is urging Belizeans to review the report and participate in the upcoming consultations. There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Emergencia fitosanitaria. Infestación de la cochinilla en la caña de azúcar. Actúe temprano, proteja su cultivo y sus rendimientos. Una infestación de cochinilla sigue afectando severamente campos de caña en el norte de Belize, por lo que es importante actuar de inmediato para proteger sus cañaverales e inversiones. Conozca la cochinilla. La cochinilla es un insecto pequeño, blanco y con apariencia algodonosa que se encuentra comúnmente en la base de la cepa y debajo de las hojas. Se alimenta de la savia de la planta, debilitándola y reduciendo su vigor. ¿Qué daños causa? La cochinilla succiona la savia de la planta e introduce toxinas causando amarillamiento de las hojas, crecimiento débil y una reducción en el vigor de la caña. Riesgo de enfermedades y bajos rendimientos. Las infestaciones severas pueden provocar una reducción en los rendimientos. Las plantas debilitadas también se vuelven más vulnerables a enfermedades, como la pudrición de raíces causada por hongos como el fusarium. Señales a las que debe estar atento. Revise sus campos regularmente y esté atento a hojas amarillas, crecimiento reducido, raíces dañadas, áreas secas o muertas y presencia de cochinillas alrededor de la base de las plantas. También debe vigilar y controlar la presencia de hormigas. Las hormigas son atraídas por las secreciones producidas por las cochinillas, las protegen y pueden ayudar a dispersarlas dentro del campo. Si observa cualquiera de estos síntomas, comuníquese de inmediato a su oficial de campo de CIRDI o con el Departamento de Relaciones con Cañeros de BSI para recibir ayuda técnica. Se le puede brindar apoyo mediante inspecciones de campo, recomendaciones sobre insecticidas aprobadas y guía para el manejo adecuado de esta plaga. ¿Qué deben hacer los productores inmediatamente? Mantenga su campo limpio removiendo hojas secas y exceso de basura alrededor de la base de las plantas. Utilice control biológico. Los productores pueden obtener sus productos biológicos para aplicar en sus campos a través de CIRDI. Para más información, consulte con su oficial de campo de CIRDI. Utilice insecticidas aprobadas únicamente en las áreas severamente afectadas, no en todo el campo. Dirija la aplicación a la base de la planta o el área de la cepa y realiza las aplicaciones temprano por la mañana o al final de la tarde. Utilice insecticida para control de hormigas después de la cosecha. Actúe temprano, proteja su cultivo y sus rendimientos.
Belize has formally joined the 100% Alliance for Sustainable Ocean Management, strengthening its commitment to sustainably manage all ocean areas under its national jurisdiction by 2030 through the development and implementation of a National Sustainable Ocean Plan. Supported by the High-Level Panel for a Sustainable Ocean Economy, Ocean Panel, the 100% Alliance brings together coastal and ocean states working toward integrated and sustainable ocean management. Belize's participation builds on initiatives already underway, including the Belize Sustainable Ocean Plan, integrated coastal and ocean management, Blue Bonds commitments, marine spatial planning, sustainable fisheries management, climate and biodiversity efforts, and blue economy investments. A major step in the initiative came on Thursday, August 20th, 2026, during the Government of Belize's Green and Blue Finance Forum in Punta Gorda, where the Government of Belize and the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, signed an agreement to support the country's program under the 100% Alliance. The IDB's technical assistance will help strengthen Belize's policy, data, governance, and financing systems as the country advances its Sustainable Ocean Plan and develops for a broader national oceans program. Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño said that the commitment will help bring Belize's existing ocean-related investments and priorities together under one national vision. Belize's decision to join the 100% Alliance is about ensuring that every part of our ocean is managed with purpose for our people, our economy, and future generations. The National Oceans Program is expected to improve coordination across marine spatial planning, fisheries, conservation, coastal resilience, tourism, blue investment, blue carbon, biodiversity, and pollution management. It will also strengthen national targets, monitoring, and accountability. The Belize program could further help Belize identify and develop bankable blue economy projects, creating opportunities to mobilize public, private, concessional, and results-based financing for sustainable ocean development. The 100% Alliance, coordinated by the World Resources Institute, seeks commitments from coastal and ocean states to achieve sustainable management of 100% of their national waters. Its members include the 19 countries with the Ocean Panel, along with Colombia, Panama, and the Republic of Korea, collectively representing about 40% of the world's national waters. Belize's participation reinforces its international leadership in sustainable ocean governance and recognizes the vital connection between healthy oceans, resilient communities, food security, sustainable livelihoods, economic growth, and national prosperity. Through the 100% Alliance and the development of its national ocean programs, Belize is positioning itself to better protect and sustainably use its marine resources for the benefit of Belizeans today and for the generations to come. Galen University has taken a significant step towards strengthening Belize's response to climate change with the official launch of its National Climate Adaptive Education Program, the NCAEP, on Friday. The NCAEP was developed through the Green Climate Fund, the GCF Readiness 13 project, managed by the Protected Areas Conservation Trust, PACT. The initiative is designed to provide climate change and resilience-focused education and capacity-building opportunities while responding to Belize's national priorities and the needs of learners across different sectors. The program's curriculum and key themes are guided by Belize's climate adaptation priorities and identified capacity gaps in several critical areas. These include water resources management, hydrology, coastal and marine resilience, ecosystem-based adaptation, climate data and information management, and climate finance readiness, among other areas essential to building national resilience. The launch also marks the beginning of the pilot phase of the NCAEP under the GFC Readiness 13 project. 32 individuals have received scholarships to participate in 2 micro-credential courses during the fall 2026 semester. The scholarship recipients come from both the public and private sectors and represent stakeholders whose work contributes to Belize's ability to prepare for and respond to the impacts of climate change. According to Galen University, the pilot phase will provide valuable lessons and practical experience to guide the program's future development. The university plans to build on these experiences and fully implement the NCAEP in 2027, with the goal of expanding access to climate-related education and professional development for stakeholders throughout Belize. The establishment of the NCAEP represents a new opportunity to strengthen national expertise, improve climate-related knowledge, and support collaboration across sectors. Through continued investment in education and professional capacity, the program aims to contribute to a stronger and more climate-resilient Belize. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Monday, August 21st, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews. Or you can also visit our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3, have a safe and pleasant weekend. Thank you for watching and listening, and have a spectacular night.